This is Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing. You're watching Sporting Icons. You don't need to be anywhere else.
So the WBO president, Paco Valcárcel, has said that the ball is in Eddie Hearn's court as to what he wants to do. Eddie Hearn, he knows all about commitment. They also noted that they've been lenient with Anthony Joshua already by allowing 2 exemptions already, which is Andy Ruiz Jr. rematch, then the Kubrat Pulev fight last night. Now, you could say, but this is undisputed. Surely another exemption. Why can't Fury Joshua have at least the first fight? Because we know that they're going to have 2 fights back to back. Why can't at least the first fight be for undisputed, and then the winner will vacate the WBO, and it is what it is. At least then the WBO are part of what many people would say the biggest fight of the modern era of boxing. Some people would argue the biggest fight in heavyweight division ever. Some people would argue the biggest fight in boxing ever. Okay? Why would the WBO not want to be part of that and miss out on a percentage of what that fight would generate? You'd have to be pretty mad to turn it down, wouldn't you? Of course you would. But in their mind, they've already given 2 exemptions. Why should we have to give a third one? Why should we have to? We shouldn't have to. That's pretty much what it is that they're saying. Now, here's the thing. This is going to annoy a lot of people. If they're going to stick to their guns, which by the looks of it, they are. And by the way, before we go too much further, this isn't the first time that they've done this. They have blocked unifications before they have. Just go back to when Joseph Parker won the WBO heavyweight world title after defeating Andy Ruiz Jr. He was looking to go take on either Anthony Joshua or Deontay Wilder in a unification. The WBO said, nope, you ain't doing nothing until you have your mandatory obligation fulfilled. At the time, it was David Haye. Then David Haye decided he wanted to go fight Tony Bellew. Then he was replaced by Hughie Fury, which is why that fight happened. Because there is a misconception around the boxing world that unifications, and especially undisputed, trumps everything. It's not true. It's a fallacy. It's not true at all. It's down to the discretion of the sanctioning body. But with the WBO blocking that kind of fight for undisputed, is going to put them in a real bad light with a lot of people within boxing and, of course, the boxing fans. Because, again, let's not really beat about the bush here. They haven't long been relevant. They're relevant now, but the last undisputed heavyweight world champion was Lennox Lewis, who did not hold the WBO world heavyweight title because it wasn't deemed as a relevant belt at the time. So, Fury, Joshua, they could fight now, but not with the WBO. So basically the winner will have pretty much what Lennox Lewis had. Will they officially be undisputed? No. In today's era, no, unfortunately not. But again, if people turn off the WBO and say, you know what, screw your belt, don't care about your belt. If the boxers and that did the same, well, they're going to be in the same boat as, say, the IBO, an irrelevant belt that nobody cares about. So they need to be very, very careful with this one. They do need to tread very, very carefully. Understand, they have given 2 exemptions, for sure. And people may say, but Oleksandr Usyk, he deserves his shot. Well, again, that's down to your own individual opinion. You could say, but he was undisputed champion at cruiserweight. He moved up. This is part of the rules. You become mandatory in the weight division that you move into, much like it was with Terence Crawford. He was undisputed at 140, moved up to 147, automatically became the mandatory for Jeff Horn. So it's not the first time it's happened, and I'm sure it won't be the last. But they are blocking undisputed. Now, there are other ways of looking at it as well. Maybe Joshua just may have to go fight Oleksandr Usyk because Fury can't get out of the Wilder third fight. We don't know what's going on with them right now. It's all very well Tyson Fury coming out on social media saying yesterday that Anthony Joshua, he should have said that he wants to fight me because I want to fight him and I want to fight him next. Deal with your in-house first with Wilder, okay? If that's definitely not going to happen, cool, move on. For me, I don't really care if they have to vacate. If Tyson Fury has to vacate the WBC, vacate it. If Joshua has to vacate the WBO, vacate it. Because there's still going to be other titles on the line. He's still going to have the WBA. He's still going to have the IBF. If you really care about the IBO, that's going to be on there too. If you give any kind of stock to Lineal, that's going to be there. And of course, the Ring magazine. which is the people's belt, isn't it? So there's still going to be something on the line. But people, whoever wins that fight between Fury and Joshua, people will say is number one. But it's not going to be official because they're not undisputed. Because then there's going to be another champion out there holding the WBO belt. And then we're going to start up saying, oh, well, that's Joshua's belt. Or, oh, well, that's Tyson Fury's belt. We're going to go around that whole merry-go-round again. So all the WBO have really got to do in this one instance is say, right, Team Joshua, Team Fury, come to the table, negotiate it. We're happy for you guys to have undisputed, but you are going to have to give Oleksandr Usyk some decent step-aside money. Whatever that may be is whatever it may be. Maybe a percentage of what the event would make. Okay, so for me, they could do that, but will they? No, probably not, because they are above themselves. They seem to think that they are as relevant as any of the other sanctioning bodies. Are they? Well, again, it's down to individual preference, I suppose. But when it comes to the WBO, here's one of the things. The WBO will bend over backwards. They will do whatever they can to please Bob Arum and Frank Warren. Well, they're not. Look at their rankings. They're full of top-ranked fighters and Queensberry fighters. Look at Daniel Dubois prior to him losing to Joe Joyce. He was ranked number 2 in the WBO after fighting absolutely nobody outside of Nathan Gorman. Look at the rankings. It's ridiculous. So surely Bob Arum and Frank Warren, they have a bit of sway with WBO. You guys get together, go speak with your guys at the WBO and say, listen, we want to make undisputed. Do us this favour. And I'm sure the WBO would do it. Because again, let's not beat around the bush here. The WBO would still be irrelevant if it was not for the help of Frank Warren and Bob Arum. That's why they get favours now. Because WBO recognise that. So all they've got to do is say, yo, do us this one favour. First fight, Fury Joshua, undisputed. After then, we'll vacate the belt, do whatever you've got to do. You're going to get a nice cut of the biggest fight in boxing. Surely you want that. It's a much bigger cut than what will currently be Oleksandr Usyk versus Joseph Parker or Oleksandr Usyk versus Joe Joyce, wouldn't it? It's a much bigger cut. But that's common sense, right? Or at least it is to me. Some people say, no, who cares? Oleksandr Usyk, he should have to fight Anthony Joshua next. Anthony Joshua, he shouldn't have to go fight Tyson Fury. Oleksandr Usyk, he's been waiting. Oleksandr Usyk has not been waiting. He hasn't long been in the heavyweight division, so he hasn't been waiting that long at all. Anyway, it is what it is. Boxing politics. Love it, hate it. It is what it is. Drop your thoughts below. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all in the next video.